right, viewers, welcome back to another episode of Aspen Uprooted. We are happy to have you with us today. For this episode, we have a special guest with us, Jeff Wangen, and we are going to talk about the one thing that no one wants to talk about, but everyone needs, insurance. Jeff is with Farmers Insurance. Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what got you into the business, your background growing up,
Sure.
where you were, all that fun stuff.
So I'm originally from South Dakota. I was from Watertown, South Dakota, up in the northeast corner. So I actually speak Minnesotan, yeah, sure, don't you know? So yeah, you betcha. Yeah, oof. So yeah, raised up there, graduated from high school there, joined the military right out of high school. I was in the Air Force for 10 years. I actually did, I was involved in the first Persian Gulf War Desert Storm, had boots on the ground on the island of Bahrain. Got out of there and separated from the military, moved to Anchorage, Alaska. Great experience. If you've never been, I think everybody should at least visit Alaska. It's not for everybody to live, I get that. We lived up there 5 years, and it was really crazy to me because nobody is on the fence. It was either, oh man, this is great, or holy cow, I can't wait to get out.
Right.
So we were in the, oh man, this is great, but as our parents got older and whatnot, we moved back down to the lower 48. I actually became the managing principal at Waddell & Reed Financial Advisors. Did that for a long time. They restructured, no hard feelings, separated on a good note. Bought a farmers insurance agency 6 years ago, and here I am. Awesome. So it's going gangbusters. We love it. And you're exactly right, though. It's a weird conversation to have with people sometimes because we deal with people typically when they're having one of their worst days. Something has happened that they needed to come back in and file a claim or ask those tougher questions.
Yeah, or their previous company jack their prices, and so now they're forced to shop and figure it all out.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of shopping going on right now. Rates are crazy everywhere, not just at Farmers and what I call the brand names, the bigger, you know, Farmers, State Farm, Allstate, all of those. Rates are just crazy off the boards. And what's really weird about it is I could quote a family in a neighborhood and save them hundreds of dollars. I could quote their neighbor that on paper look identical, not even in the game. So we just don't know how that sauce is made.
Right, sure. Yeah, all the algorithms and everything.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely,
absolutely.
But we tell everybody it costs absolutely zero to shop. You can get a quote, no cost, no obligation. It makes the most sense as people are getting the renewal notices and having that pucker factor.
Yeah, and it's smart to shop, right? Because anymore, insurance can be $200-300 a month on your mortgage payment or your auto payment. You know, you budget for a $500 car payment, but then your insurance is $200 a month. Well, that's $700. Can I afford that?
That throws it off.
Yeah, and we have those conversations all the time. And of course, you don't want to be on this side of the fence where we have to put forced place insurance on your loan because you didn't shop and get insurance, and then your payment doubles, and everyone gets real mad when that happens. So
that is not an ideal scenario.
Yeah, we like proactive agents who are good at, you know, informing our members and getting them taken care of. So that's awesome. So,
you bet. Yeah, we're real big on education as well. We want you to understand. You know, if you look at your insurance card, there's all kinds of those little tiny initials, BI, PD, UM, UNM, and all that stuff. We actually break that down for people so that there's a working knowledge of that, what all that means. We're just kind of believers in you should understand what you're paying for instead of finding out after the fact that, oh, I didn't have that coverage. How come no one told me? Well, because they didn't take the time to educate you and explain to you, this is what that means. How do you feel about that? Do you want that on your policy or you don't want that on your policy? It's going to save you 25 bucks if we don't have it. It's going to save you $5 if we don't have it. Well, for $5, right? Versus, you know, those kind of conversations. We spend a lot of time doing that. As far as the shopping, the biggest thing we see sometimes that people kind of get a little wrong is they get pre-approved for a home loan without finding out that house they're putting a bid on, how much is the insurance on that, just like you were saying, right? They've maxed out, I can afford this much for a house payment, totally not thinking about, well, you just bought a $500,000 home, the insurance on that monthly is going to be an issue. Right. You need to be aware of that. So.
Yeah, one of those other big education things that you mentioned, I know with homeowners insurance, a big one that a lot of people don't know about is actual replacement versus replacement cost or depreciated value.
Yep.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So replacement cost, and as far as I know, in today's world, everybody can get replacement cost until your roof is 10 years old. After your roof is 10 years old, it's going to default to what they call ACV, actual cash value. And every company has their own, but what they do is it's a depreciated thing now. So what some people get hung up on is, well, my roof is 11 years old, so it's only 1 year out of replacement cost. Yeah, but it's still 11 years old, so it starts depreciating from year one, just like a car does. It starts depreciating from year one, not year 11. So what happens is, instead of getting full replacement cost, you're going to get a percentage. So let's say, just to keep numbers simple, your roof is going to cost $20,000 to replace, and that's a low number. But for easy math, it's going to cost $20,000 to be replaced, but you're on ACV, so the insurance company is going to give you 75%. So what it really does is it kind of ups your deductible, which you have already. Let's say you have a $2,000 deductible, you're only going to get 75% of that $20,000. So now you have a $7,000 deductible,
Right.
kind of thing. So that's kind of the way to look at that. And again, a good agent should kind of coach you through that and help you with that and kind of explain, this is why and this is how. I just had a case the other day. They were asking about, so once my roof gets so old, what's the benefit if I have one of those class 4 shingles versus just a standard shingle that's less expensive to be replaced? And the difference is, we pulled it up. If you have a class 4 shingle, you're going to get the 75%. If you have lesser than that, you're only going to get like 56%. So now we're talking another 20% gap. And when roofs are costing $40,000 and $50,000 in today's world, that's another chunk of money. So again, that's where having a proactive agent is going to benefit you. Somebody to at least vent to, or have them explain, this is why and this is how that works.
Yeah, no one likes hold music, so it's nice to have a local agent that you can call and get the understanding and questions answered that you need. So obviously you're with farmers, you do homeowners. What all avenues of insurance do you handle specifically?
Yeah, pretty much if it's an asset of yours, we can insure it. So we do homeowners, car insurance, umbrella insurance, which kind of covers, which basically umbrella insurance ups all your coverage levels to $1 million. We do business insurance for business owners, small business owners, large business owners. All your toys, motorcycles, boats, campers, all of that we can cover. We even offer pet insurance and those kind of things. Life insurance, which is another awkward conversation for a lot of people. And life insurance is always kind of funny, I think about it, because people, it's an uncomfortable conversation. You're talking about somebody passing, and God forbid that happens, but it does, right? And the reason I say it's kind of funny is because the reason a person gets life insurance is, I'm uncomfortable that if something happens to me, my family's not taken care of, which is a huge deal. But the funny part of it is, the insurance company gives you the once over and goes, nope, we got faith in you, we're going to go ahead and give you the insurance, right? So it's always kind of a moving target on that. But life insurance is a vital part that a lot of people are missing because, one, I'm too young. Heart disease doesn't run in my family, or this or that or the other thing. And it's just such a missed opportunity for them and their families. And think of it as a three-legged stool. If you got 3 sources of income and one of them goes away, somebody passes away, that stool isn't standing anymore. You got to replace that with a life insurance kind of situation.
And the younger you are, the cheaper it is. So it's better to get it when you're young and lock it in for whole life or one of those long terms.
And a lot of people talk to us too about, well, I can't afford that. Well, there's different opportunities there. You can get term insurance, which is a lot less expensive than a permanent policy. And all of our term policies are convertible to a permanent policy. So let's say you get a 30-year term, you're young, you get a 30-year term, it's going to take you out till you into your 60s, okay? And God forbid, but in your 40s, you get diagnosed with some kind of disease that it's not terminal right now, but it's not looking good. You can convert that policy to a permanent policy then, no proof of insurance needed. They're already on the hook for that death benefit. It'll convert to a permanent policy. So you're going to be covered for the rest of your life, which is really a comfort level for a lot of people, because they're thinking, if I get term insurance and it expires and then I have a disease, now I can't get insured anymore. Well, our policies are convertible to a permanent situation where you're not going to lose your coverage just because you were diagnosed with something.
Nice. That's good to know.
Well, and I can say from experience that I ended up in the hospital with COVID, and it was, you know, I was in there for about 3 or 4 days, but I got life insurance after I got out because I was doing that kind of thinking in my head, like, what if this was worse, and I just left my wife behind with 2, you know, vehicle payments and, you know, any other debt that we had. So that was a wake-up call for me, even being young, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people, again, they go back to, well, I can't afford it, or they sit down and we have formulas that we work through with people, you know, how much life insurance should you have, how much do you need? those kind of conversations, and it comes up to be a large number if you're a young person, right? You're making X amount of dollars times X number of years. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't afford that much. Well, let's get something in place, because something is better than nothing. So maybe you can't afford a $500,000 policy, but you could afford a $250,000 policy. So at least we filled some of that gap. Just those kind of conversations. And then as you grow and you mature and your job gets better and your income gets better, then we're going to have some options down the road for you.
Is this enough to last my wife until she finds her next husband?
That is sure one way to look at it, you bet.
That's what I always joke with my wife. I'm like, I'm not going to set you up for life just till you find your next husband.
I'm going to give you 3, maybe 5 years.
Yep.
So.
You're good. You're on the clock. Let's go.
Now, pet insurance, I think that's cool that you offer that, because my wife was in that industry, and yeah, sometimes something as simple as a dental cleaning could be, over $1,000 for a pet. So
Absolutely.
I think even that's becoming more something, and people are realizing that might be worth investing in.
It is, and again, that actual situation isn't, oh my God, expensive, right?
Right.
You can get different levels. You can get kind of the catastrophic coverage, similar to people health insurance. You can get catastrophic coverage where it's not going to cover the basic things, but if your doggo has to go in for kind of a major surgery, it's going to kick in. You can get the ones that cover dental cleanings and everything else. And again, those can be built to your structure. What do you want it to look like, right? You tell us, I would like it to do this, this, and this. We'll build it that way. Here's the price. Ooh, that's more. Okay, let's remove that now, and work with people, again, as opposed to calling an 800 number. Because we've all had the experience of calling an 800 number for whatever reason, and we talk to Billy Bob, and we tell Billy Bob our story, and for whatever reason, 2 days later, we got a call back. Well, we don't get Billy Bob again. This time we get Susie. And you say, well, yesterday I called and I talked to Billy, and let me pull that up. And you hear the clickety-click of a keyboard, and she reads you one sentence. And you're like, for goodness sakes, I was on the phone for 30 minutes with him. And now I got to tell you my story, right?
Sounds like the notes Dan leaves. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll talk later, Mike.
Yeah. So, but if you have a local person, come in, tell us your story. We'll be the middleman. We'll take care of contact in corporate office or the claims department and things like that. And we're on your side. A lot of people think that because I wear the farmer's shield, I'm on farmer's side. Claims are not held against me, right? So they're not keeping track at the home office going, oh, Jeff had another claim, so we're going to cut his commission, or we're going to cut his this, or going to cut his that. They're not held against me. So I want to make sure you get every penny you deserve, right? Insurance is designed to make you whole. It's not designed to make you rich. It's designed to make you whole. We just want to make sure that we made you whole. Right? The adjusters, the corporate people, the bean counters, they're going to be a little more persnickety on some of that stuff, right? I'm on your side because, and it's a simple reason, I want to do a good job for you because at renewal time I want you to renew. That's as simple as it gets, very transparent on that, but that's why I want to have your back. And we will go to battle for you and try to get every penny we can for you. We use local contractors. We don't use any of the storm chasers on things like that. We have all local people that we know, trust, and love that we've referred many of our clients to.
And that's so vital because like insurance, you have to have it. We all pay for it, but sometimes we don't use it, or we use it very few and far between. So it's nice to know someone that's knowledgeable that you can rely on. Like for instance, you get hail on April, and go quick, file a claim. Well, then you get hail again and again, and by the end of the summer, your insurance company's dropped you because you did 6 claims instead of listening to your agent. And
that's right, yeah. And we coach people through that kind of stuff. Let's wait till hail season's over, or at least till the rally's over, because we know there's a storm every rally.
That's right. Got to take out those bikers.
That's right. So let's at least wait through that. Car claims are the same kind of thing. And we encourage our clients, do not call the 800 number. We have a great claims department at our home office. We really do. They're usually ranked in the top 2 or 3 in the country of claims. But their job is to file claims. So you hear stories sometimes of, I called the 800 number and to ask a question, and next thing I know, they say, well, here's your claim number. Now, how can I help you? You're like, I didn't want to file a claim. I had a question. Well, that can be undone, but now we're getting over hurdles and through hoops to get that undone. Call your agent. Let's talk about it. Let's find out, right? You got sideswiped. You got $1,000 damage on your driver's side door and the mirror's missing, but your deductible is $750. Does it really make sense to file a claim when you're paying more than the insurance company? Probably not, but it is your choice. If you want to, we'll sure do it, but let's think it through. Well, if you called the 800 number to do that, you just filed a claim. because that's their job.
Oh, I see.
Right? That's not my job. My job is to coach you through it. Does it make sense to do this? At what point does it make sense? Here's what happens if you file a claim. This is your second claim in 2 years. Your rates are going to get adjusted. One claim, probably not so much. So how much do we want to push that envelope?
Sure.
We'll do whatever the client wants, but do it with some education, do it with some thought.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think that education element is very important. We interviewed a guy earlier today that's kind of how he's separating himself too, is he's leaning into the education factor, and I think that it's great that you guys do that,
Yeah.
because someone like me, I know I'm kind of lost in that world, and I would greatly appreciate
Absolutely, and it's such a crucial part. You know,
Yeah.
it really is. I recently moved some of my accounts over here to Aspen, and partly of that situation is because of the education that I got through dealing with the people and your switchover kit and stuff like that. You made it easy. That's what we're trying to do for our clients, is make it easy, right? You opened with it. Nobody loves insurance. I'm in the business, and there are days I don't love insurance, right? But it is a necessary evil. We just want to make it as painless as possible for you.
Definitely.
And so I just want to mention, so you said you grew up in Watertown earlier. How did that affect, I mean, we're listening to you talk. It sounds like you have a great approach to your business. How did growing up in Watertown affect your how you run your business?
Sure. I think growing up in an agricultural type community, my dad was military, I was military, so I had a military father, the stereotypical, if you're on time, you're late. If you're 5 minutes early, it's pushing it. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. So that had an influence as well. But growing up in an ag community, you really learn a work ethic, right? I helped out at my grandpa's farm. You know, I was driving a tractor and hauling hay when I was 5 and 6 years old. So that just kind of gets built into you. Is you got a job to do, you do the job. You don't put it off. You don't procrastinate. Get to work, get it done. Then you can have your fun, right? And some of my favorite stories is my grandpa used to farm me out to other farmers. So I would get a call some evenings at 6 at night. I'm, 14, 15, 16-year-old kid. I'd get a call and say, hey, I talked to your grandpa. He said you could help me unload a grain truck tomorrow, so I'll pick you up at 6 in the morning. Holy cow.
Yep.
But, I'm old enough that back in those days, you didn't argue. You just said, okay. So pretty soon I'd walk down to the end of the road and get in some guy's grain truck. I didn't know him from anybody. Off we'd go to Clear Lake or whatever, unload the grain truck. He'd drop me back off when the day was done. Sometimes they'd pay me. I think sometimes they paid Grandpa. But
Sure. Thanks for lending your grandson.
yeah, but just that kind of community and those kind of stories. But I think that's really what it teaches you, is you got a job to do, you get the job done, right? In today's world, I got a job to do, and it's to take care of my clients, so we try to get that done as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, you look like you're going to ask something
No.
there, Miles. Go. Well, I was just going to ask, what's the most unexpected piece of advice that you have ever received?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I had a regional vice president that we used to review numbers and stuff. Here's your goals, here's where you finished, things like that. And he would do it on a conference call, so all the other managers were on that call. And then we would follow up one-on-one after the fact kind of stuff. So one time after the fact, we had a follow-up, and I said to him, I said, I don't want to blow my own horn, but you left off a couple of the things that I accomplished, and you shouted out a couple other guys. I'm just saying. And he said, that is not a problem at all, because I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you have to blow your own horn or they forget you're in the band. Right? And that has always stuck with me to the point of there's a difference between confidence and cocky or being bragging about it.
Sure.
And if that situation happens, I'm blowing my own horn, but it's still factual.
Yeah.
Right? It's still, look, I did accomplish these things. You overlooked them. So that would be it. Sometimes you got to blow your own horn or they forget you're in the band.
Yeah, well, that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah, no, we encourage our staff to do that as well, because sometimes as a manager, you have so much going on, you don't see the small wins that are happening by your staff. And so it's good to hear those stories and know them and acknowledge them.
One word of caution that I learned, again, kind of the hard way, is sometimes our better producers or the folks that are really killing it, sometimes you have a tendency to overlook them because you expect it from them. So it's easy to point out the folks in your organization that were struggling a little bit and they had a great month or a great week and kudos and pump them up a little bit. Meanwhile, your top producers, they had their best month ever, but you expect that from them.
Sure, yeah.
Right, so that's where they should blow their own horn and call you on that and say, look, I also had a good month. So
Great job, Dan.
Thank you, Miles. Yeah, I'll work on the notes, though, as you said.
Yeah,
my notes aren't very good.
He's busy. He's busy. So, Go ahead.
Well, we kind of touched on this earlier, talking about the importance of, when people are looking to buy an insurance policy, shopping around. Is there any other advice you would give to someone who is maybe a first time, a person who's buying it for the first time? Any other advice you would give to them?
Yeah, the biggest piece is shop early. If you're buying a home, as soon as you think you're going to put an offer in, a lot of people get it down and, okay, we're down to these last 2 or 3 homes, and we're going to put an offer in on one. We're not sure which one. They're all kind of equal in our mind. Give us a call. Give us all 3 addresses. We'll run a quote. It costs absolutely $0 to run a quote. That might be an influencer for you, though, right?
Yeah.
The amount of the house is part of it, but part of it is neighborhood, right? Insurance companies have maps that are plotted out, and they know that this area gets more hail than this area.
Yep.
And it gets more this than that. So all of that factors into the rate that you're going to get. So if you have a couple, 3 homes on your radar and you're thinking about putting in an offer, again, costs $0 to call and say, can you just run me a quote on these 3 addresses? We're happy to do that for people. Again, doesn't cost anything.
Sure.
Gives you the information that you need that will factor into your mortgage payment.
Yeah, me and my wife, we're probably going to try to buy a house in the course of the next few years, but it's good to know that that's something that we need to do early
Absolutely.
on. Take that into account.
Absolutely, because we've had clients call. They'll call, like, what are we on here? Tuesday. They'll call today and they'll be like, oh yeah, we close Friday. Okay, so I need a quote for that. And then we give them the quote and it actually kicks them out. Then they've called back and they're like, well, now we don't qualify. Can we dumb that policy down?
Sure.
Because we can only afford this much because we maxed out our allotted money for that. And we can, but boy, that's a tough way to start home ownership, is not the proper coverage for your brand new home.
Your house burnt down, now you can afford to rebuild a shed.
Right, yeah. Thanks for playing, and you're on your own for the sheetrock. We framed it for you.
Yeah, exactly. So
So-
you handle all the different lines of insurance. I know some can be more complex than others. Do you have a favorite product that you like to sell that challenges you, that intrigues you more than the other?
Yeah, business insurance is kind of my passion. I have a great team. We have people that kind of specialize in some different areas there. Personally, I like the business insurance aspect of it because there's lots of moving pieces. It's kind of a puzzle to put together. And business insurance, we can do everything from covering, it's called a BOP, business owner's policy. That's going to cover the building they own, their actual general liability inside of it, and all those kind of things. Where it gets challenging sometimes, and you have to be a little bit of an architect to put it together, is, well, we own 3 buildings. This building is a warehouse, this building is a this, and that building, okay, now they're doing different things, but they want them all in one policy and those kind of things. We can do it. And that's the challenge of it, though, is putting those kind of packages together and making sure that the client is covered. That, okay, you have 2 brick and mortar buildings and 1 more pole barn for the equipment, and a windstorm takes out your pole barn. Well, we don't got to worry about the other 2, but did we have your pole barn appropriately covered, as opposed to we just kind of threw it in with the other 2 because it wasn't worth as much because of pole barn versus brick and mortar. Not the way to go again. You want to make sure that everything has the appropriate coverage. So I find those challenging, but fun to work on. And I love it when we're sitting with clients, whether it's a home and auto or a business, and they have that aha moment. You can almost see the light bulb come on. Oh, I get it. Yeah, you explained it right. I understand that. As opposed to, I think I get it. They go away, they have a claim. I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah.
Right, now you're playing defense. So
That's where that knowledge is power. Same with our industry as
Absolutely.
well. The more the members can know, the better it is. 'Cause
Absolutely.
then they don't come in your door angry. So,
right. Or
yeah.
if they do, because they still come in angry when they have a claim, right? But it's a lot easier to say, remember we talked about how that was, oh, that's right, you told me that.
Yeah.
And it just diffuses the situation, and then you can have a normal conversation.
Now, one aspect you mentioned is umbrella coverage. Is there a specific number of assets an individual should have, or an income level that would trigger them to think, okay, I don't need to do individual policies, I should look at an umbrella policy to cover all my assets?
Yeah.
How do you determine that?
So an umbrella policy is an add-on to your home and auto policy. So you have the underlying home and auto, and then you add an umbrella. So let's say your auto policies, they primarily attach to an auto policy, but they extend to your home policy as well. So let's say you have an auto policy where your limits are $250,000, $500,000, which means you have $250,000 of coverage per person per accident, up to a total of $500,000. Well, if there's 3 people in that car and all of them are hurt, as long as you don't go over 500,000 total, we'll cover everybody. But if you do, somebody's left holding the bag. Okay? What the umbrella policy does is it takes that $500,000 max and bumps it up to $1 million max. Okay? It doesn't add $1 million, so you'd have $1.5 million. It makes it $1 million, so it adds 500,000. So that's what that does. And as far as is there certain levels, in today's world there is not, mostly because it doesn't take much anymore for a severe auto accident for that person to have medical bills that are going to exceed those thresholds pretty quickly. So an umbrella policy makes a lot of sense. They don't cost a ton because it's an add-on to the auto policy. You can get them for $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. You can go all the way up to $10 million of added coverage. Most people don't need that much, but $1 million we see quite common. The other thing that an umbrella policy will do for people is add some liability protection to you as well. If you sit on a board and that board ends up getting sued because somebody thinks there was some wrongdoing, your umbrella policy could very well kick in and help cover that for you. And what that does is, in our case, Farmers will actually find a local attorney to represent you, and Farmers pays that bill for you, because we would rather pay an attorney's fee than a settlement.
Right.
Sure.
So good to know.
This might be kind of a stupid question, but so I've heard that Gordon Ramsay, the chef, has insured his taste buds. So in case he ever eats something that is, horrifically hot or something like that, he gets them insured. I don't know how much information you can share, but have you had that happen to you yet, where someone wants you to insure something that's just really like, wow, really, that's what you want me to insure? Have you come across something like that yet?
We haven't had anything fun like that, but we do have carriers that would cover that, actually.
Sure.
Lloyd's of London, actually, we have access to them. We have a couple others that kind of are the one-off kind of things. Something like that, though, would sure make one of those great commercials. You know, the Farmers commercials where we've seen a thing, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Yeah. All of those commercials are based on real claims that Farmers has paid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
When I first found that out, way back when I first started, I thought that is really cool. Yeah. Then I found out that if you have a weird claim, there's a number I can call and say, hey, I had this weird claim, and if it's weird enough or cool enough, they might make a commercial out of it.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm hoping.
I'm always tossed up between which insurance commercials are my favorite. You got the Farmers, We Are Farmers. Dun, dun,
Yep.
dun, 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 dun.
J.K. Simmons, I love
Yeah.
that
Yep,
actor.
he's
so.
a great actor.
Yep.
Or the Allstate.
Yeah.
Be better
Yep.
protected from mayhem like me. Those are
Yeah,
hilarious.
those are good. Those
Yeah.
are good. I'll give them that. Those are good.
And Jake from State Farm just seems to have the best job ever. He just gets to go to all the football games and meet all these celebrities and just be the spokesperson.
That would be a good gig to have.
Yep, but Farmers and commercials are up there for sure. Good.
Yeah, they're pretty slick.
Yeah.
And when I found out that if I had a weird enough or cool enough claim that they could maybe do something with it, I thought that's kind of neat. The other thing they do is
yeah, I'll work on that for you.
There you, yeah,
see what I
thanks.
can come up with.
Farmers sponsors the Farmers Insurance Open PGA golf tournament.
Okay.
As an agent, I can actually qualify for a free trip to the golf tournament. So I haven't yet. We're working on that, but that'd be kind of cool.
Maybe he can insure your lightsaber collection.
Yeah.
Might be
Before I got married, I spent more money than I'd like to admit on geek lightsaber stuff, and they were each about $800, and I've got like 3 or 4 of them. So
All right.
I always try to throw him under the bus in the podcast.
Just openly admitting that. Good for you.
Yeah, throwing it out there for the whole internet to know. Yep.
He's eccentric in
Yeah.
his collections. He's
That
got a
we-
didgeridoo.
We would. You have a didgeridoo?
I do.
Have you been to Australia?
No.
Or just wanted a didgeridoo?
I just wanted one before when COVID started, and we kind of learned we were going to be closed down in the lobby for a little while, and I was going to have more time at home. I was kind of like, I want to learn a weird instrument. So I kind of started looking, and I'm like, that sounds like a unique one to know. So I bought it. I can get it to make noise. He's played it a few times, but I'm no pro at it by any means.
But you can actually get noise, because I hear those are hard to even get a sound out of if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's really hard since I got the beard. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. That's why I don't play it anymore, is because he's done it. And there's,
Put my mouth all over it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Get
for that.
the Clorox wipes out, that's for sure.
No,
He's a very talented musician, though. He plays keyboard, jaw harp, all sorts of stuff.
there you go.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I feel like I've learned a lot today, Jeff. I didn't know much about this world. So
Sure.
I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing this a lot too, is because we have people on that I never knew there was so much to know about insurance. But we appreciate you coming on and learning us a thing or two about it. So
And no one else
glad
talked
to
about
do
it, but obviously there's a lot to know, and it's
Yeah.
important.
There,
I mean,
there really is,
yeah.
and you know, so many people have policies that they just do not understand.
Yeah.
And that is super sad when we visit with those folks. And lots of times we visit with them after they went to do whatever happened at their other company, and we're just shut down because you don't have that. Well, then they come and they're like, so I need a policy that does this, this, and this. I'm mad at those people because they never explained a thing to me.
yeah.
And then, you know, we get the chance again to educate them and whatnot. And that education piece is super important. And we do it for everybody, whether they buy a policy from us or not, because it's part of our process. We want you to understand, if you go with us, this is how that works. If you don't, that's fine. You still at least know how it works now for wherever you end up.
Yeah.
So it's not a, once you pay me, then I'll educate you. That's not us. That's not us.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we love that philosophy. We appreciate all the hard work you do in the community,
Thanks.
protecting our homes and our autos and our families.
That's yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the education today,
Yeah,
talking to
you
us.
bet. Thanks.
So if our members would like to get a hold of you for some education or to employ your
Yep.
services, what's the best way they can do that?
They can give us a call at the office, 605-342-5350. They can email me, first initial, last name, so JWANGEN @farmersagent.com. Those are going to be the two easiest ways to track me down.
Perfect. And where's your office located?
Our office is located at 2050 West Main Street.
Okay.
So it's the big building in kind of the back of the parking lot, just real close to here, close across the street from McDonald's.
Yeah, by Batteries Plus, Little Caesars, Michelle's
Yep,
Tacos.
yep. Michelle's, we're in the same building as Michelle's Tacos.
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
So easy to find, and that is, I got to admit, a little too easy for me to walk down to Michelle's Tacos, but that's a different
place-
podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Get some tacos, get some
That
insurance,
smell.
and you're
is
good to
supposed
go.
get, yeah.
It is, yeah, it'll get you.
Yeah.
Beef
It'll
down
get you.
tacos. They're
Yeah.
delicious.
So,
Cool. Well,
Very good.
Jeff, thank you again so much
bet.
for being
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Until next time, we invite you to like and subscribe, and we will dig up another story from the Grove.
Aspen uprooted, we're taking it deep.